Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Paris Henriksen Show. Today is going to be a little bit different. Today is a bite size, audio only episode. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm recording this while we're on hiatus for a month. And I'm not in the studio. I'm also not in Nashville. I am in Los Angeles this week. And I just wanted to kind of jump on here and talk to you guys about an issue that I've talked about on the podcast before, and an issue to me that is very, very important, and that is human trafficking. Now, some of you, if you follow me on social media, you will already know that I was blessed to partake in the film Sound of Freedom. And what is Sound of Freedom? For those of you who don't know, Sound of Freedom is a anti-trafficking drama that is based on a true story of former Homeland Security agent Tim Ballard. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Tim Ballard currently or has done founded Operation Underground Railroad, which Operation Underground Railroad was an organization based out of Utah that was helping support against human trafficking and child trafficking specifically. And what they were doing is they were doing missions and rescuing children all across the world. So that's what that organization does. Now, Sound of Freedom was made a very long time ago, and we found out some additional facts when we were at the premiere in Utah. But Sound of Freedom was made 5 years ago, and it actually came to life and was written 8 years ago. So I guess the one thing I wanted to share on that is good content can take time. But also with that, Sound of Freedom was knocked back by every possible big Hollywood studio that you can imagine. And a little over 100 days ago, it was signed with Angel Studios, which was the studio that distributed the film into theaters just recently on this past 4th of July. I'm recording this episode about 17 days after the release, which is very exciting. Yesterday, Sound of Freedom just hit 100 million domestically in the box office, and it is beyond thrilling. That is US domestic sales only. Sound of Freedom is not available anywhere else as of yet. But I can say they are working on different negotiations and different deals to bring Sound of Freedom to countries and other countries around the world. So that's very exciting. So if you're in Australia or the UK or somewhere else and you are thinking about wanting to see it, you definitely should. And just bear with us because it will be out very, very soon. Now, one thing that I wanted to kind of jump on here and talk about is, I guess, yes, Sound of Freedom, but also how you guys can stay involved and why it's important to combat against this issue. Human trafficking is a $150 billion industry, and the biggest consumers of this industry are white men in the United States and Mexicans. So, with that being said, and that's not to demoralize or categorize anyone, that is just the facts of the type of individuals that are committing this crime at the most. Okay, so just to clear that up. Now, what I do want to say on that is with it being $150 billion industry, these big Hollywood studios, the media, and everything since this film has come out, they've tried every which way to sabotage it that they possibly could, including down to saying that, Tim and Jim Caviezel, who plays Tim Ballard in the film, is, QAnon and all of these crazy theories that people are coming up with. And I will say on that regard, just because they're a part of something, or just because you don't like a topic that they're addressing, or that anyone's addressing, mind you, it doesn't mean that we're conspiracy theorists or QAnon or right side or any of that stuff, okay? 99% of the time, people are telling the truth. And people in this world just don't want to hear the truth. That's the bottom line. It is what it is, and people will be how they will be, but that is the bottom line. So let's just get that very clear. So yeah, this film has had amazing reception, and the depictions in the film, most of the storyline, like 99% of the storyline, are based on true events. Now, with it not being a docuseries or anything like that, obviously there are elements that are enhanced for film. Okay, so I also want to make that clear. If you actually go to Operation Underground Railroad, to their Instagram page, or to their YouTube, which I will link below, they will tell you what is correct and what is accurate and what is not as accurate or has been enhanced for the case of a film. But yeah, the bottom line is that it's a $150 billion industry that has been going on forever. There's actually a line at the beginning of the movie, sorry, at the end of the movie, that comes up on the screen that says that right now in history, there are more people in slavery slash trafficking, it's the same term, than ever before in history. And that dates back to when slavery was actually legal. So that just goes to show you how horrific and horrendous this industry actually is. Now, I want to give you guys some useful tips and some things to look for when looking out for traffickers, and also different, things to be aware of. One thing, you can go back to season 2 of my show. I'll also link it here below, and watch the episode that where I interviewed my good friend Carla Stevens. She also goes through some things to look for and to watch out for. But some things that I will share is, we're all very good at traveling and kind of turning a blind eye and all of those things. But I want to encourage you guys that if you see something that doesn't feel right or it doesn't look right to you, then it's probably not. Say something, do something, report it to someone wherever you are. For example, a story came out in Los Angeles yesterday about a man who had driven from Texas. He abducted this girl, sexually assaulted her, drove her from Texas to Long Beach, California. They were at a laundromat. You can look this story up. It's on YouTube and also on the internet. And the woman that owned the laundromat, she realized there was something wrong, and she made contact with local law enforcement. So definitely there are ways you can assist if you see something. So the biggest things to look out for. Let's go. Okay, so number 1, look for a sign, or if you see, let me give you a scenario. You see a child in an airport with someone who doesn't look like their parents or their legal guardian, okay? It raises a question for you. The chances are, if it raises a question for you, if the child's looking fearful or scared or nervous, and to be completely clear, this is one of the most common ways that children are trafficked is through airports. Atlanta International Airport being one of the biggest in the US. And I just found out just recently that San Jose, California is the number 1 spot for human trafficking in the United States. And I think that might be world, but we'll go with the United States for now until I can get more clarification on that. So, yeah, looking for that, looking for signs of distress, signs of uncomfortability, signs of them not wanting to be there. Um, Another sign to look for is if they have bruises or markings on their body that look like they would have come from some kind of assault. Um, and then also if the perpetrator looks nervous or uncomfortable, or they don't answer questions properly, um, they just don't look like they're okay. Now, that is like the most common that I have seen, and that you will see. There is obviously other forms of human trafficking, like labor trafficking, and a lot of stuff to do with employees and prostitution. Obviously, something to look for with that is seeing if the individuals that you see as prostitutes are actually of age. And now again, I want to be clear. Just because they're of age, it doesn't mean they're not being trafficked. A lot of people get kidnapped and held against their will and forced into a life of prostitution. Now, however, when it comes to the children, that is a big thing, and you will see in the line in Sound of Freedom that that's what they did. They took Rosario and her brother and made it like they were going to become models, with the character of Giselle. So if you go watch the film, you will see exactly what I'm referring to. But with the kids, yeah, it's definitely obviously a major, major issue, and a lot of it can work in different ways. So if you see something that's not right and you think that the child is maybe in a life of prostitution or anything like that, please do report it. Now, when I say report it, I don't mean just talk to a friend about it, or an airline hostess or something like that. Of course, please alert if you are on an airplane and you see something suspicious. Please alert the airline staff, okay? They will contact who you need to contact, but don't just make it like you alert them and then move on. Make sure you follow up. But definitely alert local law enforcement, or somebody who can be of assistance. If you're in an airport, maybe a TSA guard or something like that. Whoever you think is going to be able to help in a sufficient, quick, and effective way. So, with that being said, I want to kind of, I guess, share with you guys what you can do. And now I'm going to make this just a short episode. It's 13 minutes, around about 15. Is when we're going to wrap up. But some things that you guys can do in order to protect yourself, protect your family, if you have children, if you have little siblings, all of that. A big thing and a big way that it's happening is through online, through social media. So I would recommend that if you have children, under the age of 18, definitely keeping track of their social media, who they're talking with, what they're doing, what type of content they are posting. Now, if they're posting overly explicit content or content with dancewear or bathing suits or anything like that now, and a lot of young girls are doing that, a lot younger than back in my generation. So I would highly recommend parents to keep an eye on it. Also, when they're on the computer, when they're online, what are they doing? Are they on there talking to friends that they actually have met and know and are friends with? Or are they on there, for other reasons, trying to just look at other things or play a different game or whatever it might be? Make sure you are checking what they're doing, and keeping an eye on that. That's the biggest piece of advice that I can give, because child pornography is one of the biggest issues in the world today. And obviously, that translates a lot of the time into trafficking. because they lure the person in with that, and then there you have it. So that's really all I have for you guys today. I will be bringing out a series where I talk more about this. I will be interviewing more people who are across this issue and other different people from different organizations that help with rescue missions and helping fight against human trafficking. To give you guys a quick few stats, Atlanta and Seattle and Ohio are some of the worst for trafficking. So if you happen to be passing through any of those areas and you do see suspicious activity, please report it. But with that being said, just to round it up, make sure you go back and listen to the episode I did with Carla Stevens. And definitely there's a few other episodes sprinkled throughout the seasons as well, where we bring it up, we address it, and we talk about it. Go see Sound of Freedom. It is still in theaters across the country. Hopefully we can, hit more box office numbers and success. Make sure you're following myself on social media, Paris Henriksen on Instagram, Threads, and that's pretty much it, to be honest. Make sure, you go and follow Operation Underground Railroad to see the amazing work they're doing. And I will also link a few other organizations that I have worked with in the past as a once-off, or other organizations that I think are doing amazing things to help combat against human trafficking. I am also going to be linking in a shop in Nashville that I am in love with. It's called Thistle Farms. No, this is not sponsored. It's called Thistle Farms, and they actually have amazing products. They have a whole cafe, but they have amazing products, and their method behind their business is helping basically with aftercare for women and men of domestic abuse, and also people that have been affected by trafficking. So definitely go and check them out. I'm going to link their link below. They have amazing candles, hoodies, sweatshirts, hoodies, same thing, bracelets, sprays, baskets that are hand woven. A lot of really cool things. I love their candles. I've had them in pretty much every home for the last couple of years. But yeah, enjoy, have fun, and remember that this is not to be a non-talked about topic. So talk about it, spread the word, spread the voice. And until next time, this has been a pleasure, y'all.